Everybody ready? Okay, if you recall, again, one of the goof ups from last time is that when I changed the type up here, I set it 24 pixels instead of 36. By doing that, what I did down here is under styles, I created a second style. So every time you change something like that from down here, what it does is it creates a new style for you, which is a new a new part of your style sheet. So what I can do is I can switch from there, and you'll notice it does make it larger. However, one of the let me undo that. Another problem that I discovered is that when I highlighted it and then I looked at it in split view, look here, it says Lauren's new website, and we have, it's a heading 1 that I specified, but look over here under class, style 1, style 2. It has 2 styles applied to it. So which one takes precedent, and that's part of the cascading effect, is style 2 is closer to this one. That's why it dominates. But as soon as I take this away, and let's cross my fingers and telling you this is going to work, and we take it away and we refresh, and it changes it. So that's without knowing any HTML, but knowing enough to be dangerous. It's knowing how to go in there and to fix it. It's discovering that, and it does make it pretty easy in that regard. Not always, but if there's minor glitches that you need to fix, then if you just select that area where the glitch is and look in the code and you study it and compare it to the others that are working, you'll find a difference. And that's the difference that you need to generally change. Okay, so if there's little squigglies or there's certain kinds of brackets or something that you need to use to make it work, then you just put those in. Why they've chosen those as a part of the syntax, I don't know. It's like dot syntax. It's like all the other stuff. Why curly braces versus square brackets and this and that. So that fixes that. Now on the subject of this, I still don't have a clue. I'm going to have to tinker with that. I don't know why it's not previewing properly in the browser. As if I click play down here, you notice that when I roll over it, the rollover works, and I click on there, it's still, everything looks pretty good. So I'll stop that here, and let's preview it in the browser again and see if maybe I'll have better luck today. I don't know. So let's go to, where is it here? There it is, right there. Let's preview in Firefox, save changes, and see what happens here. Yeah, see, it's working here, so it does work in the browser. What I'm thinking, and we discovered with, whose was it the other day? Someone had, was it you that had the Flash that wasn't working? Somebody, maybe it was Palacios that had it. He had a Flash project. The one that we did, it was the slideshow, and he used the array, and the files were external. And if he just viewed it in the page, it worked. But if he uploaded it to his tripod account, it wouldn't work. And I thought about it, and I can't say for absolute certainty, but I'm pretty sure the reason that it doesn't work on the tripod account is that the reason that they're able, what they do with this free account is that how they put an ad at the top and an ad at the bottom is what they used to do is that you used to put your page in a frame set. A frame set, which we'll get to next week, or the weeks ahead, it looks like a table. And a table is just a structure to hold everything together. It looks like a little wireframe. But in fact, what frame sets are, while they may look like individual cells or individual components, they are separate pages. And so I'm thinking that when it's linking to it, it doesn't see that as the main page anymore, because who knows what they have named that particular frame. And it's not going to know to go to that. and put it in. So I'm thinking that that's why it doesn't work. But when he clicks on a button and it opens on a completely separate page somewhere else, it works beautifully. So, I mean, that's part of the challenge, the difficulty, the frustration, the whatever of working with web design. Sometimes you don't know what the problem is. Sometimes it can be so simple, like selecting the text and looking in there and see that you've just added 2 styles when you only want 1. Sometimes it's a slight typo. Sometimes it's, I mean, they're just very silly things.
You know, sometimes I read somewhere in one of the HTML books that sometimes when you open up a page, the ship saves the cache.
It does save the cache, and so.
I found out that sometimes when I would try to refresh just when the server is open,
Mm-hmm.
it
Doesn't refresh.
So I have to restart the program.
Okay.
And then it'll load the new.
Well, I've discovered that with Firefox, a lot of stuff will stay in cache for a long time, and it's hard to clear it out. Does everybody understand what that is? Cache, whatever it is, C-A-C-H-E, it's cache. When you open a page in your browser on your computer, what it does is it stores all of that data on your computer. So the next time you go to that same page, you know, while the browser and your computer is running, what it does is it doesn't open it from the internet, it opens it from your computer. So you're thinking, I made these changes, why isn't it working? And oftentimes what you'll have to do is reload the page. That's one way of doing it. And then when you say reload, it doesn't go from the cache. It's not supposed to. It should link to the remote server and download that information again. So any changes that you've made should be refreshed. That's important because you're going to see that a lot. Sometimes with Firefox and with some browsers it doesn't work. But why this button didn't work, this flash button from the get-go, I don't know. Because when we tested it, it should be just fine. And with all of those browsers, as far as I know, they have Flash Player in them, so that's not an issue. But it does bring up, you know, in a very small way that Flash can be an issue. That you think, well, it works perfectly here, it works on my computer, it works on this browser, and suddenly somebody else is saying, you know, I've opened your website and it looks great, but I can't, you know, I'm using Internet Explorer, or that you don't even know what they're using, but you discover that and it doesn't work. And it could be something as simple as that it's not compatible with the other browser. That's why, as I said, you need not only a link here, but then you need text links down here is a backup sort of, because those are default. Those will work. Okay. So a couple of other things that I wanted to test, and then we'll turn the video back off and we're going to look more at some lynda.com videos on cascading style sheets. Is one of the things I want to show is that what if you wanted to make available for someone a PDF file that could be, or we were going to try a Word document, something like that, so that they could download. And I haven't done the Word document, but I don't know why it wouldn't work, but you never know. This is a good time to test, and we'll have it. We'll see what we can do. So I'm going to go back to Photoshop for a minute. And I'm going to open a file, because I know I can save from Photoshop as a PDF file. Okay. You can also use Acrobat to do that. You can save any document in Acrobat as a PDF file. And it has just that, the extension PDF. Anybody know what that stands for? Portable document file? Okay, that sounds logical. Well, it's the same with GIFs. They're all acronyms for something in JPEGs, and I forget what they are. You can look on Wikipedia or something. They'll generally find that stuff. I'm just going to open an image, and I'm going to say a JPEG. It could be anything. It could be a document that you've created with text. But let me go ahead and open something here. And I'm going to open it as a JPEG. it doesn't really matter. I was using these the other day. Why not? Let's go ahead and, how about a nice white flower here? This would be a good one. Okay? I want someone to be able to download this image. So I'll go ahead and I'll say save file, and I will save as, because I can save it as a PDF there. And I'm going to save it in my root folder. If I don't, actually, let's not. I want to test Dreamweaver to make sure that it recognizes that it's not in the root folder, and then it will place a copy of it in my root folder. Okay? But I want you to see the dialog box, and it's best if you do save it in there from the get-go, then you don't have to worry about it. But I'll go ahead here, and here is Photoshop PDF. And right now, there is something wrong with the file that won't work. And what is that? There you go. Underscore is okay, but again, you have to, it's easy to overlook little things like that, and it just won't work. And maybe it will, maybe it won't, but I'm not going to, I don't trust it. It just won't. Some is, Garrett Chow said the other day that there are a number of Unix servers that just don't, that use older formatting that don't allow that. It's just, I don't know. Save as, there's a whole bunch of file formats available to you. Export, on the other hand, okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. Sometimes in it, preserve Photoshop editing capabilities, no. How about embed page thumbnails, optimize for fast web preview, sure. What?
There's a preset for web output on the Adobe Media presets. The first drop down.
Up here?
Yeah.
But for right now, but maybe I do want a high quality print that, or just quality print, meaning I don't want press quality, high quality print, modified, huh?
The smallest file size?
Well, not necessarily, because if you want it, in this particular instance, okay, it's not being viewed on the website. It's only in the server. There can be a reasonable facsimile that you see on the website, but if you want a printable version, then maybe it is, because it's using this other feature to be able to download it, it's not visible. So you do want the higher quality image. You do want print quality. Does that make sense? Because if you want something that's printable, you see that all the time when you go to your bank and you do, online, and for banking it says for a print quality one, or whatever website, it says for a printable version of this, click here. All you're doing is selecting a link to a PDF file. I'll just say high quality print. There we go. Preserve Photoshop, whatever. Change it back. I don't want press quality. We can go back on versions. Okay. So we'll go ahead and save it. Yes, that's fine. So it's saved. Now let's go back here. Not here, but here. And I don't know. I'll just click here, I guess. And I'm going to just throw it in here. And I'm going to put flower. Picture. A picture of flower. There we go. And I don't want this to be a headline here, so I just want it to be style, none. Okay, actually I do want a style. I'm going to go ahead and paragraph. Oh, no, 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 Mr. Bill, I did this again. Oh, please don't. This is supposed to be heading 1. There we go. Okay. I'll just leave it this text. And now I'm going to create a link. And because it's not in my root folder, it's not in here, then I need to click on the folder, Browse Another File. So let's test it and see if it works. Now I got to remember where I saved that image from the other. I think I saved it on the desktop. I think it was where did I go?
You saved it in the lessons folder?
Is that where I went? Let me go to the desktop. My lesson 11. And here's the flower white PDF. Okay? Choose, and it warns me. Ta-da! This shows one of the advantages of using a program like Dreamweaver. It says this file is outside of the root folder of the site, okay, and may not be accessible. Your root folder is that it. Would you like to copy the file there and now? Why not? If you don't, then you still need to drag it over. But just make a copy of it. So now you have one in your original location and one now in your root folder. So there we go. So I'm going to save it inside Images. I click OK. And there, now we have a link. So picture a flower. And notice because it's a link, and remember I added that cascading style sheet the other day that changed the look of the links? It automatically changes it now that it knows that it is a link. Okay. So let's test it in the browser. Let's make sure it's saved. Let's see what it does. And I'm crossing my fingers, and I hope it does what I say it does. Let's go ahead here and preview in Firefox. Let's click here. There we go. It works. This is opening flower_white.pdf. Open with preview. That's default, or this is what Apple does. What it does on the PC, I don't know. Maybe it just automatically downloads it. Maybe it asks you. Anybody? How many of your PC users? Anybody? And when you download the file on the PC, what does it ask?
Well, if it's a PDF file, it'll just load up in Adobe Acrobat.
Okay. Here it's asking because on the Mac you have preview, and you could use a separate file. You could just save it to disk. It gives you all these options, and then you can open it later. So let's open it with preview and see what it does. There we go. So now I have that, and I can, if it's a printable version, I could print it, and it would be the same with any other document. It could be a really high quality version of your resume for your portfolio that you're creating right now, your website. It could be a form that somebody wants. It could be whatever you want. Let's try the Word document and see what it does. Same principle. So, fortunately, that worked for me today. So, let me find Word in here. I don't have this on my desktop. Let's go into Applications and Microsoft Office. It's here, right here. Let's open up Word. And I'm going to open a template, and let's just save it. And I'll save it in my root folder, and we'll link to it and see if it works. My templates, guess I don't have any. Home essentials, labels, planners, menus, and catalogs. How about a menu? Why not? How about a bar? There we go. Let's open this up. Okay, so here's a Word document. And I'll save it as a menu, so File. Oh, come on. Menu. So now I'm going to do save it, save as. Again, make sure that it's a small menu. Menus doc, and I don't want to save it in the document. I'm going to go back to the desktop, and I'm going to find my root folder, Lauren Miller 2. And either I can create a new folder for it, but these are my downloadable documents, or I could save it in images or do whatever, wherever you want. I'll just save it out here in the open here and see what it does. Now let's go back to, that's not Dreamweaver. Okay. Oh no, did it save it? It crashed. Let me open it again. I'm going to do a business form instead. How about an invoice? That would be a good one. So it's a single sheet. We'll do the bar again, open. So that you want a downloadable Word copy of an invoice. So file, save as, invoice, make sure it's lowercase, be on the safe side. And I'm going to go back to desktop. I'm going to go in my root folder, Lauren Miller 2, and I'll just save it there. And hope it doesn't crash. And it didn't. Hey, how about that? Okay. So let's go back here. And now let's put another spacer between here. And we'll type invoice. Whoops. Yeah, go ahead. And it doesn't really matter. It says heading 1, but if I select paragraph or whatever it is, when I highlight it and I link it, it knows it's a link and it will change the formatting for me. So let's go ahead and click here on the little folder button, and I'm going to go back to, I didn't want to go there. Let's go back to the desktop. Let's go in my root folder, Lauren Miller 2, and I should see, and here's the invoice doc, and I choose, okay? Oh, come on, okay. There's also one of the things that you'll discover with web design that makes it very frustrating, because you'll be accustomed to, in a Word document, is that you want multiple spaces between words. And by default, when you hit, I can continue to hit the space bar and it won't go. There is a key command for it that I'm now forgetting. I want us to try the command key, and that's not it. I'm going to try the shift key, and that's not it. Shift option, and that's it. You try enough of them, and they're all the same set of commands, you know, that you get it. You'll get, you know, a difference. So now it sees it as, this is my invoice. Let's go ahead and save it, and let's do the same thing that we did before, just preview in browser, preview in Firefox, and we see the invoice. Notice how, because we have already gone to this, you know, use this, it's grade, that was what we specified, and when we roll over, you see the underscore and you see red. So now I'll click here, and the same thing. I can either save to disk, let's go ahead and do that, or I can open with, and then I can select choose, and let's go into Macintosh hard drive, applications, and because we created it in Word, we're just going to go ahead and open up Word. So here's, here it is, Microsoft Office, here's Word, open with Word, and I click open, and it opens it. There's my editable document. Okay? So very easy to do. I mean, there are some things in here that are easy, that aren't going to tax you too much, that can be extremely useful. Pretty cool, huh? So these are things that I think that will be useful and you will want to add to your website as you build it and make it really functional. I think these help and add to the functionality of a website tremendously, things that you'll want to do. So this is a printable document. It's not one, it's not a file format that's restricted to the web. If you wanted it to preview in the browser, then that's a different animal. But because it's just simply downloading the file, that's different altogether. If you wanted someone to be able to see this on the internet, you would have a variety of ways. If you wanted them to actually be able to put data in it, then that's different. Then that's dynamic HTML. That's something that you have to do to be able to, that when you're filling these fields, that it's going into a CGI bin on the server, and then the server is dealing with that and is able to handle the content. If you just want them to see a picture of it, then you would have to open this file, take a screenshot or something, and save it in Photoshop, save it as a JPEG, GIF, or PNG, 72 pixels per inch, and then it would be just that, an image, and it would be visible on the browser. But then you might have a link, as we have here. So for a printable version of this document, click here, and it really has no relationship to this. All it becomes, it's the Word document that you are linking to that will be downloaded. This is just a reasonable facsimile of what the person is going to see or get. Does that make sense to everyone? So now that I've screwed this part up here, let's go back over here and see what I did in here. I probably added some tag that I didn't want. It says style 1 class. Okay. Well, this should be bold. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and save it. Okay. Before we continue with cascading style sheets and we watch Garrett Chow's demonstrations on lynda.com, do you have questions about anything that I've covered so far? Is it all pretty clear? You guys are moving along okay? You're creating content for yourself?
I was trying to, I guess, attach the cascading style sheet yesterday, and for some reason, every time I try to upload it, it would tell me that there was an error.
Check the file name. It has to have the extensions .css. If it doesn't, that's an issue. Check the way that you name the file. The naming is the same as an HTML page or any other document that's going to go in your root folder. If there's a space between words, or if there's a capital letter at the beginning or something like that, it won't allow it. So let's check those, and that's one thing that I didn't mention the other day in my video when I was creating. It's an equivalent. It says move to or whatever it is now instead of export. When I was typing the name of the style sheet that I was creating, and I had all of those styles selected, I added .css. So make sure that when you do export it, that is named, and it will recognize it as a style sheet that you can then import or attach. It's not import anymore, it's attach that style sheet. And you can attach multiple style sheets. Be careful, though, that one doesn't conflict with another. After this, what I'll do, if you'd like, let's see how long the videos take and see if you're tired of it when you're done. But one of the things that I want to do with regard to cascading style sheets is to show you how to put in a background image. We can talk about background images and how you can use cascading style sheets to control them. Because one of the things with cascading, with background images, and I can show you real quick, is that that can be frustrating, is that they automatically tile. Maybe that's what you want, maybe that's what you don't want. If you want a pattern that sits behind your page, and you need to be careful when you do that, is because if it conflicts or with the text or anything that you have, any of the content that you have, and makes it difficult for the viewer to read, it's going to defeat the whole purpose of your website, to be able to communicate. So you may, in Photoshop, have to tint it back, make it just a screen, 10, 20%, so it's very light behind everything. But it is an advantage in that if you do want sort of a pattern behind everything, that you don't need one big sheet that goes behind it. You just need a small one, and it automatically repeats that over and over and over again. Well, there's also an option when you use cascading style sheets of just using the image as a single image and controlling the placement of it on the page. So if you want it in the upper left-hand corner, or you want it always centered in the background, then it will be there. And that will, anytime you apply that style sheet to a page, it will automatically have that background image, almost like a watermark to your page. So that's something that I wanted to show. But there's a lot more that you can do with background images. There are more that, I won't say a lot more, but there's things that you need to know. And it involves Photoshop. So we're kind of crossing over between using cascading style sheets and using Photoshop for your background images. But I wanted to show you how you can control your page layout and your text. And it's something that I recommend that you do as you're designing your first page and creating your style sheet, so that as you develop your other pages, you can attach the style sheet and not worry about formatting text or anything. That will be much easier to do. Okay, that you'll have it already preset and ready to go. That this is my headline, it's an H1 tag or something, and maybe you want it larger than 36 points. You have a style sheet for that. You have your paragraph text, maybe it's Verdana 10 point, 12 point or something, and maybe you want Times Roman or something for your links or whatever, and you have a style sheet for your links. I've done it on my website only because I've used the background image on my first page. So if we look at, let's go ahead and go to my website here, and you'll see what I mean. It's, whoops, I already have that. Not this page, but when you go to home here, this background image of a gallery, that's what it is. That's a JPEG image that's in the background. And I wanted to apply that as a style sheet, but I didn't want it on any other page. I just wanted gray on the other pages. And if I had attached that background image to the style sheet that's applied to these pages, it would bring that background image in all of them, and I didn't want that. So I made that a separate style sheet and added it. Maybe that's not the most efficient way to do it, but you can do it. Yeah, you do want to make, if you do have multiple style sheets, you have to make sure that there's no conflict. If you have a paragraph tag in one and a paragraph tag in the other, there's going to be a conflict. And again, the one that's the closest, it's at the bottom, will be the one that wins out. So you may get conflicting results. You do need to be careful. Yeah, you can, if you want. I don't recommend that you do, but you can. The purpose of the style sheet is, I guess there's several points, is one, that it will aid you to create uniformity or continuity between your pages, so that you don't have to remember what font did I use, what size did I use, what color did I use for my text or for my background or whatever from page to page. Because when you attach that style sheet, it will ensure you that it's the same from page to page. The second thing is that if you wish to change the look of all the pages on your website in one fell swoop, all you have to do is make the change to the style sheet, and as soon as somebody opens up the page, it automatically has made that change. As opposed to going into each page and changing the text or whatever it is that you've modified manually. And then there's always that possibility that you're on one page, you're going to forget to do something. Mm-hmm. Because if I wanted to use it elsewhere, and it is a little bit more efficient. Because then the same thing, the style sheet, I could have it link to another page, another image, and it would put it in there without having to modify the page itself. It's similar to when we created the slideshow in Flash and the files were external. Okay, the one where you click on the buttons and there was the array and the files were external. And if you wanted to replace those slides without opening Flash, all you had to do is replace the file and make sure that the file had the same name. And as soon as you opened up the Flash document, the action script is looking for the name, that file name, and it would load it up. It would be the same thing. If you want to go in and replace things, you don't have to open the file, the Dreamweaver file, the HTML. You only need to replace that little bit of code in there and replace the file with the one that you have, and that's it. It can all be done externally. Okay, so let's watch, let me turn off the video and then we'll, or watch some more videos, but this is my video.